the last very happy moment of my life was when I came in here today, some 2 hours ago, and see you all. I was very touched, I was very happy, and I felt this being familiar with such wonderful women. I know already some years, and I know about their work, and being related with you, this makes me happy. So this was my last, very few moments ago, happiness I had. The other happiness I have, it's not kind of happiness, but it is that I was born in peacetime. And I never realized war and violence, physically or psychological. And I can say I'm happy about that, which is I'm only a small group of women, of people in the world who didn't experience that. And of course, this is not to be happy, but in a way. And maybe to say, which brought me here to be happy this morning, was I'm from Germany. I was born after Second World War, and this influenced my family. And when I was a child, I heard different stories, mainly men's stories about war or survive the war. But it was like a red line through my life. And later, when I was a little bit older, I realized that it was only men's stories. The women, they were quiet, they baked the cake or they served the coffee, but they didn't talk about the war or what happened after the war. And then I was, maybe I was also happy to be in a society who in the public discussed what happened to bring Germany into two such horrible wars, and we had an open discussion which came into the families. It was not, you cannot say it were the others. Each family had these discussions, and then it realized, when the people were open, that in every family you had this both parts. You had some who were following the Nazis and Hitler, and you had others in the family who were against it and refused it. And so, I mean, I'm typical German, and I have these both things happen in my families and to families members. And this was one of the things which I could never get out of it. And this influenced me in my work, in my interest. And then one moment was, or perhaps to say, I have in my family, I have 3 uncles. One, he is a Jewish one, and he had to escape the whole time with another identity. Another uncle, he had to flee when Russians came to the east part of Germany, he and the family, and they survived this big catastrophe which happened then when the ship was sunk with all the refugees. But he survived, and another one, we had not, so the family separated from him because my aunt, he divorced from him. He was a major in the SS. So I have all 3. I could not choose them. I was born in this, but it was very interesting when I talked with them. But they never met together. And then of course I was only 15 then, but the 68 movement in Germany, this was something I was not participating in because I was too young, but it makes me very curious what happened. And I thought I grow up that women and men are equal, but of course I felt they are not, and all these old things, this was a cleaning. And after 68, there was still everywhere, every time there was another movement. There was this anti-nuclear movement, and there I was in the 20s, and I was very much engaged in this. And because I really had feared about the environment and that we all can die because of some stupid thing, and this is not a development. And once I was walking in a forest, I came to a point where I was not allowed to go ahead. And I asked why, and they said, no, this is a military basement and you are not allowed to enter. And they didn't answer to my other questions, so I went home and I asked the community of this forest and asked why I am not allowed as a free citizen to enter there, and what is hidden behind. And then they told me, yeah, they don't know exactly, but it seems that they are these cruise missiles, this nuclear weapon to the direction of East Germany and Russia. And of course I know also the other side had this, and this made me feeling very, I mean, yeah, and there were a lot of discussion about what happened when something will happen, what will be, and nobody, no life will be there for hundreds of years. And this makes me angry, and this makes me being a very active part in the peace movement also. And I was active there with many students, and yeah, and then in the 18th, the mid of 18th, this became my job, because I applied for a job in the Institute for Peace and Security Studies at the University of Hamburg, and I became the assistant of the former director. He unfortunately passed away now. It was a minister, Egon Bahr, and he was very much involved to make a better relation to the both parts of Germany. He was very active in that. And yeah, and so this peace engagement became to my job. And also in this institute I met my later husband, and then he is Swiss, and he was asked to build up a peace institute in Switzerland. And so in '89, this was that year when the Berlin Wall fell down, we came here and built up a Swiss Peace Foundation. And during my work there, to that time, I always know that women are different and have other stories, but it doesn't came up that as a topic for me. And this was at the moment that, as a friend of us and a former colleague from Sudan, we organized a conference, and I was talking with him, and he said to me, Maren, in crisis regions and war areas, what women are, the life of women is so dramatically different that from men. And I hope that Swiss Peace Foundation will focus on that. And it was a man who inspired me, and I never forget this sentence. I'm very thankful to him, and I'm happy that I met him. He's now living in London. He's a very old, wise man. And from that moment, and it was the mid of 80s, I started with a gender or with women's work. Gender, that word doesn't exist to that time. And no, it was in the beginning of the 19th. And I organized a conference. It was the first conference here on women and war. And I invited different women from different regions, and it was very interesting. And what also was interesting, that there was so the impact of war and violence on women. I had a discussion with a German historian who was working on the German after Second World War, when Germany was under Russian and American, French and British So they were responsible, and where I come from, it was Hamburg, and there were the British. And she found out that where the British were, there were no rape on women, on German women, but where the Russian were and the Americans, I don't know, but also the French, there was a lot of rape of German women, and they were never talked about. And they had these, and yes, and from America, many soldiers, black soldiers were in Germany, and there were some relationships with German women and with American soldiers, and the children of these parents, how they were discriminated as being soldiers, children, and all these issues. There were a whole taboo on it. And she came up with that, and that I think it was very interesting. And it is not only in other places of the world where things happen like this, also around me. And then I discussed with my mother, and then it came up how many rapes were on our entire family, on women. But they never talked about that. Because it was a shame, it was a taboo, and I felt so sad to hear this. And then when I read the stories of women today in other cultures where it is still the same, I can understand how hard it is not to talk about. And so all these things then came together, and I thought I didn't know about enough on women's rights, on women's history, and then I decided to make a feminist study in Austria, and after that I can say I'm a feminist. And yeah, and even being a feminist, I'm happy that I'm married to a man where we can both we always combine our work. When we started together, then we went slightly different ways, but we always support each other, and this means that in all these positions my husband has, he always comes back to PeaceWomen. So everywhere in areas in Nepal or Sudan where he was working, he was the PeaceWomen. He always contacted them and worked with them and invited them, also because he's more in a political environment or decision making, so to get these women in. And yes, and this so also because of him, this brought us to the South Caucasus. And first I was here because I had my work with the Thousand PeaceWomen, and which was also, before I come to South Caucasus, I can say how happy I was when I was in my work in Swiss Peace Foundation. I was there organizing Women's Roundtable on women and peace decision making. And there I met Gabi. She was part of this round table, and one day she asked me, she said, "Maren, do you have time? I have a crazy idea, I will tell you." And and she told me she had a dream, and since then she was thinking about how realistic it is or could become to nominate 1,000 women for the Nobel Peace Prize, because peace is not a thing of one man or one woman can do alone. It is, like Kamla said, there are the many drops who are coming into an ocean or who are building an ocean, and and I had the same feeling, and I was happy. And she told me her dream, her idea, and I said, "This is the best idea I ever heard." And then she asked me, "Do you like with me to work on it?" And I said, "Of course." And so we started. It was in August 2002. It is almost 13 years ago. And I discussed with the director of the Swiss Peace Foundation if he could set me free, but I can use my working table and everything there and the stuff there. to start, and he said, of course you can. And for 2 years I was unpaid there from Swiss Peace, but we could use the office. And then Rebecca joined, and regular, so we were the first group here in Switzerland. And then, of course, and this was the most happiest moment when we gave this idea brought it into the world. It was also it was only possible because internet was already there. Without internet, I think we couldn't reach it so far. And the first two who said, this is the best idea, we are joining, this was Zainab, and this was Vera Shirva from I forgot. It's not. It's Africa, yeah, but I don't know which country now. So these were the first two women who said yes, we will join. And then we are starting asking women. I asked Kamla, and I found Margot at another conference, and so it was a movement. It was just coming together what need to come together. It was just it was a tsunami of peace, of women, of love, of commitment, and this was a very happy time. And all what we have achieved, how we start, and the first meetings, and so this was a very happy moment of my life, that I could be there at the beginning, and and also it develops during the time we were working together. I felt always my heart is beating for the environment and for the ecological issues and for livelihood, and I saw so many peasant women on the world, how they are struggling to survive, and how valuable their work is, that they can make the soil something grow out of it, which gives the nutrition to others who are not, how important it is. Without them we wouldn't be nowhere, but their work is not recognized. They are stupid farmers, and stupidity is always connected with the people on the countryside. And so coming to Georgia, by occasion I met these people, and now since 5 years, or not 5, 4 years, I'm very engaged in a small village where a lot of deported people are living there. So they are coming not for free there. They because during Russian time people were taken from everywhere, had to go there. They were refugees, and now they are living since 25 years together there, and have to build a community. And I saw, or I realized when I'm there, that they found a way for a good living together, but they are coming from so different things. If they would put it on a table, they could not live anymore in peace, I think. So they are also now under this taboo carpet in a way as a strategy. And but what is their common interest is working with the soil, raising nutrition on the fields, and making their cows survive to have the milk, and they take it for themselves, but for the daily survive, but also bring it to the next town, so to the people who have no land. And but they are still, and sometimes you feel the Soviet thinking behind it, people telling something and they believe. And then I saw this. We say the Monsantos are coming, and they are coming, and they are very smart, and they are providing things. And I could stop it. not there. This was the only thing. It was not Mount San. I think it was in Genta, but they are the same. No, they are everywhere and try to influence. And they are first there with money or with seeds or with fertilizers. They provide without paying something, but they never tell about the dependency which arises after it, and that after some years the soil will be dead. So this is of course not the thing they said. And now we could, in this village, we are a group of people, we have a small association, and we do not teach, we are just doing. And we are doing and showing the way how we are doing, and the farmers and the peasants are coming and ask, why are growing your things so better is on our field? And we could tell them, yeah, because this is organic, because the soil is living. And yeah, I can do also now, give me your fertilizer. And we said, no, you cannot give fertilizer, it's not fertilizer. It is a whole process, and it needs hundreds of years to build up some centimeters of humus, and it is destroyed in a very short time, and it is a very long process, and but you can, if you put the right plants together, they can influence themselves in growing without any pesticides. And so, and of course the soil is not healthy at that moment, but it will be healthier and healthier and healthier. And we are in this process, and we are also very consumer orientated, because to give this information on our market stand, we have a market stand in the capital in Tbilisi, and the people can taste, and they taste the difference, and they are interested in. And I'm also happy about this. There was a change at the beginning, because some of us are not Georgian, most of us are Georgian, but some of us are not Georgian, and also on the marketplace. And it was of course first the international community who came and buy, because they know about organic food. But now more and more Georgian people are coming. And young families who say, oh my God, we are so happy that we can find some vegetable which is not poisoned, and bread from an old seed. And and they also now learn to taste the difference. And this is the only thing we cannot influence, we can just show them, taste it and then see it. And what we can do, we can guarantee that there is no pesticide, no poison on it, and you're always invited. And yeah, so this is a very nice movement. And also this is not make me happy, but gives me hope in this difficult world we are in, are the young people who are coming there as volunteers. And they are coming, they are travelers, but they are coming also from other countries. They are coming from Australia. Last time we had the first Indian woman who came. They are coming from Germany, from other European countries, yeah, but also from neighboring countries. So they are traveling, and they are bringing their knowledge to us, and the information of countries they came from, and with our knowledge and with our thing, they are going their own way. And this is a big movement. I didn't know that before, and this gives me hope. It is like PeaceWomen across the globe. You meet different people, and you hear the stories, and you feel better after it, that these people are alive. And yeah, and this makes me happy and gives me hope for the future.